Part 92. This is not poisonous. You don't know how delicious chili pepper is. Just when Lu Xuanzhou made up his mind to become a matchmaker, Chu Xinghong returned triumphantly. Zhun Yi didn't know which crops were edible, so he ordered Yi Yang to go to the hospital to see what crops Chu Xinghong brought back. Yi Yang has also been bored for many days. As soon as he heard that he could leave the palace, he left the palace almost non-stop and went straight to Chu Xinghong's warehouse. When Chu Xinghong learned that the imperial concubine in the palace was about to come to their warehouse, he was still a little uneasy. After all, it was the first time he had seen such a big official like imperial concubine. However, when he saw Yi Yang, he stayed where he was. He never imagined that the young master who recommended him was actually the imperial concubine of the Holy Dynasty, and when he thought of the name of the young master introduced by Yi Yang, he was instantly stunned. The young master named Yi Yi would not be the current saint, right? Yi Yi, Zhun Yi, the difference of one word seems to be true of the current saint. Master Chu. Salute. The man behind him saw Chu Xinghong standing there, not knowing how to salute, and hurriedly tugged at the hem of his clothes. Chu Xinghong finally came to his senses. He was about to kneel and salute, but Yi Yang stopped him with a smile. It's okay not to salute. Master Chu, still take me to see what you have found and come back. Concubine. Please, this way. Chu Xinghong excitedly invited Yi Yang to come forward. Yi Yang was also welcome. He walked in the front, listening to Chu Xinghong explaining the novelty of the continent. His heart was tingling, wishing he could put on a pair of wings and fly to that continent to see. While speaking, a group of people came to the outside of the warehouse. The warehouse is very large, and there are many wooden barrels in it, each of which contains different crops. Yi Yang stepped forward to check and found that he did not know many crops. Where did you find these things? Yi Yang asked Chu Xinghong behind him. Because of these strange grasses, he has never seen them before. On the mountain. I didn't know what to eat and what not to eat, so I brought a little back and asked the imperial concubine to identify it. Chu Xinghong answered honestly. I'm not a god, how can I know everything? Yi Yang shook his head, walked around the warehouse, and found that he didn't know each. So, he was ashamed. Well, is there anything else? Chu Xinghong was stunned for a while. And after co-authoring he searched for so long, these things are not crop, a little ashamed, so he immediately took Yi Yang to another warehouse. This warehouse is divided into 3 areas. And each area is full of crops. Look closely, isn't it potato, corn and sweet potato? Imperial concubine, this is the potato you said. I bought a lot of potatoes on purpose. Just to try the planting method you said, imperial concubine. Chu Xinghong had a shadow about the last time he planted potatoes, so this time he especially bought thousands of caddies of potatoes. Just in case. Yi Yang picked up an artichoke and thought of the various ways to make artichokes, and couldn't help drooling. Then he thought that there were no chili peppers, and sighed. He just misses his chili peppers. Why is there no chili peppers? He went to the corn again. These corns were small and not full. They were very different from the corns he knew. But it was better than nothing. Chu Xinghong warmly introduced from the side. The imperial concubine, this is the corn you mentioned. And it is also one of the staple foods of the mainlanders. Chu Xinghong had an excited look on his face, as if he had seen the people living a well-fed life. Well, this corn is good. It's cooked and eaten like this when it's tender. When it's old, it's dried in the sun, and then ground into pancakes. Yi Yang ate a lot when he was a child, so he didn't particularly like cornmeal. He went to the sweet potato again. This sweet potato was similar to what he remembered. although it was slender and small, as long as the people applied more fertilizer in the future. The sweet potato could grow a lot. Chu Xinghong introduced from the side. I don't know what this thing is called, the imperial concubine. But I brought some back when I saw that people from that continent dared to eat it. This thing is called sweet potato, which is drought resistant and adaptable. It is strong, has high yield per mu, and has a sweet taste. It is one of the good staple foods. Yi Yang deeply remembered that when he was a child, his parents often nagged him in his ear. And he only ate sweet potato porridge when he was a child. In a pot of sweet potato porridge, most are sweet potatoes, and some are porridge. He also said that they would never eat sweet potatoes in their entire lives, but after not eating them for many years, the second old man missed sweet potatoes very much, which made him feel ashamed for a while. Although eating too many sweet potatoes hurts people, it is these sweet potatoes that feed countless people. Chu Xinghong quickly took what Yi Yang said in his heart, and later he would write down everything Yi Yang said. He was about to ask Yi Yang how to grow sweet potatoes, but Yi Yang said, Master Chu, wait for you to pick a few people who know how to farm, and I will teach them how to grow potatoes. When summer is over, you can plant potatoes. As for this sweet potato, although it has passed the planting period, it should not affect it. Find a piece of land to plant it quickly, and then when the sweet potato seedlings grow up, cut the sweet potato seedlings with scissors and insert them into the ground. When winter is approaching, we can harvest a lot of sweet potatoes. Then I'll find someone now. Chu Xinghong turned around and walked out of the warehouse, instructing the people outside the warehouse to quickly find someone who could farm. Yi Yang also walked out of the warehouse, looked up at the blazing sun, and narrowed his eyes slightly. Before you know it, spring has passed quietly, and summer has come. Although it is too late to plant sweet potatoes, fortunately, the summer of the Holy Dynasty is not very hot, and sweet potatoes should survive. Hey, stinky boy, what kind of child are you? Why did you come here to play? A man dressed as an officer and soldier roared at the little boy who was running around. You control me, the little boy replied proudly, then made a face at the officers and soldiers who yelled at him, and ran towards Yi Yang. Chu Xinghong was afraid that the little boy would bump into Yi Yang. So he stepped forward to stop the rampant boy, and scolded in a low voice, "Bold, this place is an official warehouse. How could it be a place where you can be wild?" The little boy saw Chu Xinghong with a cold face. He was so frightened that he froze in place and was a little overwhelmed, with a pair of small eyes showing a hint of panic. Forget it, it's still a child, let him play. Yi Yang felt that the little boy did not do any heinous things, so he said a good word for the little boy. Now that Yi Yang has spoken for the little boy, Chu Xinghong can't say anything more. He ordered the officers and soldiers who were chasing after him to send the little boy away from here. The little boy saw Chu Xinghong's cold face, and he was a little scared. He was about to leave, but the moment he turned around, Chu Xinghong saw that he was holding a turquoise thing in his hand, and his expression changed suddenly. He shouted, "Where did you come from?" "Ah!" The little boy was taken aback by Chu Xinghong's reaction, and he tightened his grip on the thing in his hand. Chu Xinghong took the little boy's hand. Seeing that the thing in the little boy's hand was really a poisonous crop he knew, he was so frightened that he hurriedly knocked out the thing in the little boy's hand, and scolded, "Aren't you afraid of death? This thing is poisonous." Hearing the poison, the little boy turned pale with fright, and looked at the things on the ground with a hint of horror. Yi Yang stepped forward curiously, and when he saw something on the ground, his mouth opened into an O shape. Isn't this the chili pepper he was thinking about? How is it poisonous? Just as he was about to bend over to pick it up, Chu Xinghong kicked the chili pepper far away as if he had seen a ghost, and replied with a look of horror, "You can't do it, the imperial concubine. That thing is really poisonous. If you accidentally touch it, the juice that comes out of that thing will hurt for a long time." A soldier didn't know the power of the thing before, so he got the juice on his skin, and it hurt for a long time. Yi Yang looked at the chili pepper that was kicked away, so speechless. The chili pepper he was thinking about was actually used as a poison prevention. Is this polite to chili pepper? Actually, that crop is not poisonous. Before Yi Yang could finish speaking, Chu Xinghong immediately defended. Why is there no poison? I saw the soldier's hand was very red and swollen. I don't know which bastard brought the poison back. It's really not poisonous. Yi Yang saw that Chu Xinghong was about to kick the chili pepper aggressively. He quickly grabbed Chu Xinghong and said, "It's really not poisonous, it's still edible. You have to believe me. How is it possible? If the skin is slightly contaminated, the pain will be unbearable, and if you eat it, it will not hurt to death. Especially since the flesh in the body is much more delicate than the skin. How can it withstand the baptism of this poison? That's because you haven't eaten it before, and you don't know the deliciousness of chili pepper. After you eat it, you will find that you used to eat just to fill your stomach." Yi Yang hurriedly ran to chili pepper, picked up the chili pepper, and cherished it. Fortunately, someone came back with a little chili pepper out of curiosity. Otherwise, according to Chu Xinghong's logic, he would never want to see the chili pepper he was thinking about in his life. Imperial concubine, this thing is really poisonous. Chu Xinghong was really afraid. If Yi Yang suffered a little loss from him, how could he explain it to the emperor? It's not poisonous. It's not poisonous, don't worry. Yi Yang carefully wiped the dust off the chili pepper, really wanting to find the kitchen non-stop, and then fry a bowl of potatoes to eat. By the way, who brought this back? Are there more? Yi Yang raised his head and asked Chu Xinghong. Chu Xinghong wanted to persuade Yi Yang that the chili pepper was poisonous. But the man who had been following him said weakly, "It was brought back by this subordinate." Yi Yang hurriedly looked at the man behind Chu Xinghong, only to see that the man was tall. He is tall and mighty, full of strength, but his voice is very small, which is completely inconsistent with his rough image. "What did you bring back? This thing is poisonous." Chu Xinghong was angry when he saw that it was brought back by his subordinates. If this thing poisoned people halfway, how could he explain it to the family of the deceased? The subordinate felt that if this poison was used on the battlefield, it would definitely poison a large number of enemies. So the subordinate smuggled some back. The man's voice became smaller and smaller. It seemed that he knew that he had done something wrong this time. Chu Xinghong saw that the man's original intention was good, and he didn't want to say anything else. He sighed softly and said, "Fortunately, this poison did not cause death. If it causes death, I want to guarantee that it is impossible for you. Granted, you must not bring anything on the boat, you know?" Chu Xinghong glanced at the man, and the man nodded again and again in fright. This subordinate knows, next time I will never dare to bring poisonous crops on the boat. Yi Yang burst into tears when he saw the poisonous crops on the left and the poisonous crops on the right. Are you polite to my chili peppers when you say this? Forget it. Now it is not to prove whether the chili peppers are poisonous, but to ask whether there are more chili peppers. Then did you bring back a lot? The man glanced at Yi Yang, who was looking forward to it, then lowered his head and replied weakly, "A lot." As for how many? When Yi Yang saw the chili pepper that had been covered up, he felt heartbroken for a while. What a waste. How can you treat my chili peppers like this? Yi Yang watched as the chili pepper began to rot due to improper storage. Heartbroken. Imperial concubine. Because the cabin is small and not ventilated, many of them are broken. But some were preserved because they were air-dried. The man was afraid that the rotten chili pepper would get smoked into Yi Yang. So he hurriedly picked up these rotten chili peppers with chopsticks and threw them away into the bucket on the side. Yi Yang watched the 5 or 6 kilograms of chili peppers shrink to about 1 kilogram in an instant. That heartache, why can't these people keep chili pepper like this? Caused him to lose a lot of chili pepper invisibly. Although Yi Yang only got more than a pound of chili peppers in the end. He heard Chu Xinghong say that there are a lot of chili peppers in that continent, and they can be seen everywhere. He was immediately happy and told them to remember to pick more of them next time. Chu Xinghong was always skeptical about the ability to eat chili peppers, because he saw with his own eyes that the chili juice smeared on the skin, and the skin would immediately turn red. A phenomenon of poisoning.